Welcome to my channel, The Fantasy Thinker. I'm Jared Quartermanch, and today I'm going to be reviewing Kindred, the graphic novel by Octavia Butler, adapted by Damian Duffy, and with the artist John Jennings. So this book is a really great, great graphic novel. It has some powerful themes and ideas running through it. It contains a strong female protagonist narrator who has to come to grips with her past. Um, the past is her relationship to the enslavement of her ancestors and their enslavers as well. The book really delves into that kind of psychological dissonance, and it's what keeps the read compelling enough to want to learn more and more about what this past is and in her relationship to everybody there. Um, the story is told by Dana, our main character. It's from her point of view, so it's all in first person, and she is married to Kevin, and it takes place in the '70s to start off with, and she's an African American woman, and Kevin is a Caucasian man, and they think they live in San Francisco. And so this relationship that she has with her husband is juxtaposed by the relationships she has with white men in the past, in the antebellum South in Maryland, I believe. And so on a slave plantation of all things. And so her husband, Kevin, is like a kind, caring, and and he's truly worried about his wife's health and sanity, welfare, because she goes into the past unexplainably, and then all of a sudden she's back, and so of course who wouldn't be freaked out by that? So poor Kevin, he gets all freaked out by that. But uh, so this relationship they have there is contrasted by her relationship with the reason she's going into the past, some sort of strange connection with Rufus, who's the son of a slave owner on the plantation. And I don't want to give any more away than that because I don't want to do any spoilers here, so this is a non-spoiler review. But it is that connection that keeps Dana going back and forth in time, and it's kind of related to, I think, whenever Rufus gets in some sort of danger. So that's a major this juxtaposition between past and present is a major theme in the book, and also the contrast in relations that she has with not only people in the present but also with the different relations she has with different groups in the past. She has relationship with Rufus, a white slave owner, and she also has a relationship with the other slaves in one way or another. And not all of them are, are the same at all. Butler does a really good job of differentiating all the different characters in here, giving them all their own voice on how they react to Dana and how they view her, because um, she is obviously quite different, than the people of 1819. So um, so it raises some questions. How would a modern black woman react to the attitude of white slave owner? How would she react to the slaves and the slaves' own attitude towards white slave owners? So, you put yourself in that situation, and it's a totally different world viewpoint at the time. And so, um, and Butler doesn't give any easy answers to how any of these characters should act and feel. Their emotions are complicated, and she really shows that in the prose that we see on the page in the graphic novel adaptation. The adapters really show that in using portions of her prose, but also in the artist portraying that in facial expressions, movements of the characters, movement from panel to panel, and all that um, complicated emotional stuff is very well done on the page here. The more questions come up as you start to ask yourself, what would you do in this situation? How brave could you possibly be under such extenuating circumstances? Um, Dana takes a beating in some of these trips back to the past. She does not have it easy at all, because she is looked on, of course, as an escaped slave. So the kind of bravery that she would have to face up to that kind of that kind of stuff is just it's hard to fathom. But what else are you going to do? So like I said, Butler doesn't have easy answers for us in here. We gotta kind of come up with our own, And so, what does the bravery even look like in this case? Like, are you going to stand up and fight against insurmountable odds? Are you going to try to, negotiate your way out of a situation? You don't sound like the other slaves there. You don't sound like the white slave owners. And so what does bravery look like in these situations? And that's a tough thing to come to grips with in the book here. Like, what would you do, really? So these questions, they're dense, they're deep, they're important, and I think they're just as important today, maybe even more so than when the book was written back in the 70s. And so, all told, very well done. The artwork is most of it is done in your standard 5 to 7 panels per page format, which really is the best format for comic book storytelling. There's a couple of splash pages here and there, but he really gets the story across because he uses those panels to great effect to really draw the eye and let your own eye tell the story as you're following along on the page. So a great job by the artist, and also a great job in differentiating characters so that you really know who's who at every single time. There's no confusion whatsoever in reading this book, and that's the artist's job right there. So excellent job. It's kind of done a little bit of a scratchy style, but that really suits a story very well, especially about when you have somebody jump in time periods like that. Um, I've seen in some descriptions that this is kind of classified as science fiction. I wonder about that. There's nothing sciencey in here. There's no scientific explanation for the time travel. It's more, I would say, fantasy, because this is the fantasy thinker after all. So put this in the fantasy book. Of course, it's very strong on social commentary and cultural commentary. Um, and so it could even be considered contemporary literature in that kind of viewpoint. But I enjoyed it a lot because of the fantastical aspects of it. Because it has history in it. And I'm a history buff, so boom, I'm there. Uh, all told, great adaptation, highly recommended. I'm hoping to get they do another one on Butler's parable of the sower. So I'm planning on getting that someday too. But once again, Kindred, Octavia Butler, graphic novel. Get it. And please like and subscribe below and spread this on to your friends and family. All right. Thank you.